We have Arthur Malik on the line. We have myself, Jaja, on the line. We have a special guest on the line, Zaire. And today's topic is dealing with part 2, and is poverty a choice? I know that's a yes or no question. However, it has been debatable. A lot of people have been 50-50 on whether the answer is yes or no. But I want to ask the question now again to Arthur Malik: Is poverty a choice?
Well, definitely my response to that is twofold. But before I go, it's imperative that I show some hospitality and allow one of the new guests, the young brother Zaire that's here present with us, to elaborate on that first by answering that particular question. Zaire, what do you think? Do you think poverty is a choice?
Well, it's funny because as I found out the question, I kind of laughed a little bit. I feel like that question is sort of subjective because is poverty a choice? It can stem from choices of, many different years that you've made or throughout a prolonged period of time. But ultimately, I feel living under poverty is a choice. So I feel it is.
Okay.
So you said ultimately. So you said ultimately.
Yes. But I also feel that it is subjective.
Right, subjective meaning that you can also be born into it.
Exactly.
But you have no say so.
Right, due to many different things. But there have been people that have been born into poverty and have made their way out.
And there's been some who've been born into poverty and died in poverty.
Exactly.
Right, but now, to put the question in context, the question is directed towards adults. Now, we know as a child to be born into poverty, you don't have no choice because you didn't ask to be born in the first place. So the question is actually directed to adults. Let's say if you 21 or older, what would be your answer to the question? Is poverty a choice? And tell us why or why not.
See, but I still would go back to the root.
Right.
Although for adults, if you ask me that at the age of 21, I'm still going to go in retrospect. I'm going to go back.
Right, exactly.
I'm going to go back to where I see poverty started for me, if it started.
Right. Because it like how I said, it's subjective, so it also depends on how deep in poverty you are. If you're in poverty, if you're at the point where you have no options, limited options, no education, then it becomes more of a problem. It becomes you have more things pulling you back. So at 21, if you're born into extreme poverty, your mom is barely making it through, your parents are barely making it through, then it's going to be hard for you because every year is more of a struggle than you trying to progress yourself. And if you can't progress yourself, I feel that you're going to have more of a burden as the years pass. And
you hit a very profound point. You mentioned one word that I used on our last show, and the word you used was options.
Right.
Options. Once you have options, you're no longer. Now you're making a choice because you have options. You have something different from what you've been told that you should utilize. So now you see something different. You're afforded something different. So now you have those options, so you can make a choice now. But predicated to those options, prior to those options, there was nothing. You only knew one way.
But how do you get options?
You get options by someone like you, a young gifted brother, a mentally inclined brother such as yourself. You can converse with me and you can make me see something different. Just like this Mad Men's talk show, what we're trying to do. We're trying to make people see that they have more than one option in life.
Okay, so let me ask
you. When you know better, we share it. We share that knowledge. We share that information in the hopes that it will take away the blind spots for those people who feel that they don't have any options.
So, Arthur Malik, let me ask you this. What options don't a person have to dig themselves out of poverty? What options are lacking in the low-income communities?
The option are information. We are not disseminating information to one another with care and concern. Those are the options. You have to take, when we use slavery, I use slavery.
Right.
When I said they freed them, some would say, "Oh, no, y'all made a big mistake. I was never leaving the master. Y'all wrong. I'm supposed to die as slave. I've been born as slave. I'm supposed to die as slave."
Okay, so
they accepted that.
Okay, so let me ask you: a person who's poor, even a person who was born into poverty, is it an option for them to get an education?
That's a good question. At the age of 19, because we have to go back. In retrospect, because at the age of 19, I couldn't read or write. I couldn't read at the age of 19.
Right, but
it was predicated, and the option is only provided by my parents at a young age. So when we're talking about a child again, it's only the options that the parent provides. But if the parent don't provide options because they are used to not having options, then what? That cycle is perpetuated.
Okay, so let me challenge you on that. Did your parents send you to school?
Did they send me to school?
Yes.
I was damaged already. So, but school for me, you know what I went to? Let me tell you what I went to school for? To eat mostly. To eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lunches. To get the lunch and stuff like that to eat, not for education.
Okay, so also in the low-income communities, is there an option to get a job?
Of course, there's an option to get a job, but the options are limited. Let's say you're a 24-year-old white man has a criminal record compared to a 24-year-old black man that has a criminal record. Chances are you're gonna have a better chance of getting a better job than the black opposition. So you can get a job, but how far can you get with that job, or what can you use that job to elevate?
Right. So let's take a look at the stats. Statistically, They say a person living in poverty, for a single man or a single woman, a single person, your income have to be $15,000 a year or less.
Or less. That's right.
So out of 52 weeks in a year, just say if you're making $300 a week, $300 a week would put you in that poverty range, right?
Right.
So if you had a job as a single person making $500 a week, it will put you above the poverty range. So you're telling me that a person who's single is not able to land a job making $500 a week? That's not an option?
See, but it goes back. The option is predicated on the mindset of the individual.
Right. In your mindset.
For you or me, it may be an option because we are no longer in that mindset. We understand that there's options. We understand what we were doing wrong. We understand those particular things. But this individual might be so engrossed on what they were taught to believe, that they don't understand that you're even providing an option with them. So that particular person, they still don't see anything but what they were taught to believe.
All right, so the question
is... That's why it's important how we disseminate information. Now, you might say, "Oh, man, I ain't going to give up on that person. I'm going to show it to him like this." Then they might accept and say, "Wow, all that time I was looking at him like that."
But then on the other hand, I also feel that there is a lot of information out. There is a lot of we live in a day and age now, it's 21st century.
That's the point.
You can Google anything, and you can Google anything, and it'll give you back. It'll give you back some kind of result. You can Google how to get a job tomorrow, and you'll get a result.
I agree. And this is why I told Jaja, I agree. This is why I told Jaja it's twofold, and I agree with both folds. Is that
right?
Now, once you now understand that you have options and you remain in poverty, that's mentally, right? So You will remain in poverty physically if you never get out of it mentally.
Right now,
physically, you will remain in poverty. If you never get out of it mentally, you're gonna remain in it physically.
Right. Now my question was in response to what Zaire brought up. He said if you have a white man who's 24 years old with a criminal record and a black man who's 24 years old with a criminal record, the white man will probably get the job before the black man. I mean, that's just a society that we live in. Now I know for a fact that if you're currently on parole or probation, they offer you programs. If you're currently on welfare and you're trying to get cash, they offer you programs, trade programs, higher education programs, and job programs to where they'll even show you how to conduct yourself on an interview.
Right. But does everybody with a criminal record know that?
Of course you know that because if you're currently on parole or probation, that means you're a free man in society physically. When you report and you go to see your PO and you tell your PO, I haven't found a job yet. Oftentimes your PO will say, well, here, take this paper right here. Here's a list of places where you can either go to school or you can go find a job. Now, you have a choice to take that paper and say, well, let me go follow up on one of these programs, whether it's higher education or whether it's a job. And they'll give you a list of jobs that hire felons. So you no longer have that excuse to say, well, nobody won't hire me because of my record.
So you know what?
At the point of you having a record is when you automatically limit your options.
Right.
So when you begin to limit your options, that makes it even harder.
Right.
You're right. There are programs, but there are limited options.
Right.
Ultimately, you're not going to have the same amount of options that you would if you didn't.
It's important too. Like we got to understand. It's so hard, man. When you are taught that you're going to be nothing and whatever you do will amount to nothing, it's so hard to understand. There's people like that. Like they don't believe in themselves. They will be nothing because this is what they were taught to believe about themselves.
Right.
It's people like that. I'm telling you. That really think that no matter what I do, I'll never achieve my greatness.
Right.
I'll never be better than who I am. I might be worse. I might be demoted, but I'll never be promoted. My self-esteem will remain the same or lessen. You got people that think that.
Right.
So that's why I said everything is predicated on your mindset, on your thoughts. But now if you can reach a person like that and make them see something different, then they understand that option. Then they'll be like, oh, shit, that's something good for me, those options. But right now, you can show them all the options in the world. You can want them to have something. But if they don't want nothing, that's exactly what they're going to achieve, nothing.
Right, but see, the key thing you said is if they don't want nothing. To want something is a choice. To not want something is also a choice. You make a choice.
Right. I'm saying when they understand that it becomes a choice. That's why I said options.
Right.
When they understand that it's options now, and they continue to be in that poverty-stricken state, then that's what they want.
Right.
And everything you really want in life, you're going to get it because you're going to truly achieve to strive after it. When a person say they want something and they sitting on the couch, they lie. They don't want that. Because if you sincerely want something, your limbs are going to chase after that.
Right.
Right. Beloved, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Brother Beloved in the building. Yes, I'm on the line. Listen, I'm listening and learning. I mean, this is a good exchange. Keep it going. Okay. I'm trying to enjoy. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Zaire, you want to further elaborate, on that question?
Well, like I said, it is subjective due to conditions of what your parents have done, the choices they have made. But all in all, living under the poverty line is, I feel, is a choice, personally. Because like I said, within the day and age that we live in, there are so many options that the options are limitless. And a lot of people, I feel a lot of people get caught up in poverty because they feel that, or their options are limited because they can't do things that they may want to do, or I don't know. Now maybe going on top of it a little bit.
Right now I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who had jobs and lost their job because they couldn't show up on time.
Right.
So now, what about those people who take a shot at opportunity and then blow it for themselves because they don't understand, the principle of just showing up for work on time?
Well, that stems on. I feel that. Well, now you're talking about tardiness.
Right.
That is subjective as well, but I feel that is because people don't learn from their mistakes, or they feel, or they get comfortable. It's a lot of different reasons for that. Someone can be tardy, someone can be tardy from work because they feel that they're that much importance to the workplace. They may feel like it's not that important to them. And
so me, honestly, I feel that I'm never late. Anywhere I get to, I feel I'm always on time.
But there's people who always late.
No, but I'm being for real, because if a person give me a particular time, I try my best to meet it. To be courteous. But if I get there 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, or 10 minutes early, 20 minutes early, I'm still on time to me.
Right.
The only reason I have that concept now is because remember when they had the big shooting in the movie theater? Had a big shooting in the movie theater, blanket kid and killed people.
Right.
Right. The guy that had a mask on and everything.
Right. There was an individual who said that they got up. They wanted to see this part that was coming up in the movie, but they got up and said, "Man, I have to use the bathroom," and that saved their life. You see, so they didn't get to the bathroom too late, even though they had to go bad. They didn't get there too late or too early. They got there right on time.
Right, but now what if you're working at a restaurant and the restaurant open up at 10 a.m. in the morning, and when you get there,
it's your duty to be there at 10.
Right, when you get there at 10:15, the establishment is already open. So if it's your job to scramble the eggs, now whatever customers are in there, they can't order eggs until you get there.
Right.
So the manager or the owner of the restaurant
duty to be there at 10.
Right. When you get there at 10:15, the establishment is already open. So if it's your job to scramble the eggs, now whatever customers are in there, they can't order eggs until you get there.
Right.
So the manager or the owner of the restaurant is saying, "Look, I'm gonna have to find somebody now who's gonna be able to be here at 10 o'clock on the dot, or at least by 9:45, because now I'm losing business."
Well, that's why I said I'll exert my energy and try to make it. If I know I have to be somewhere, that's why I said I'll be courteous and respectful. If a person tells me to be somewhere at 8:40, I'll exert my energy to the best of my possibility and make it at 8:40. I'm not going to try to miss the 8:40 purposely, but if I happen to be there at 8:45, I'm on time.
Right. No. Right. That's according to you. But according to the person who's the shift manager, once you do that 3 times, you're gonna have to find another place to work.
I feel like if you're going for a job to better yourself, you have to prove not only to them but to yourself that if you agree to be there somewhere at 8 o'clock, you must be there at 8 o'clock. If you don't want to be somewhere on time, that's why people start their own business. But you can't get there if you don't be on time first. Because even as a business owner, you have to be on time.
Right.
And tardiness is very important.
That's a component to working. That's one of the components for working. But that's why I said I'm not maliciously missing the time. You see.
Right.
I'm conscious of that I have to be there at 8 o'clock. I'm making my appointments at 8 o'clock. I don't miss 8 o'clock. But if I happen to be there at 8:05, to me, because I understand, I understand what can transpire, how a life can be taken, or how something could stop me and I could have missed something. I could have got hit by a car if I would have made it at 8 o'clock. Or I understand those concepts. So to me, I'm right on time. But I'm trying my best to make it at that particular time of 8 o'clock.
Right.
But it's 8:30, 8:45 acceptable?
See, from a work perspective, it's not acceptable because you got a job. You have a million sites. But I'm talking about from the perspective of, now let's say this, right? Let's say you were a manager. And there was an accident. There was an accident on the bus that I made it to work to at 8 o'clock. There was a powerful accident. 40 people on the bus was killed. And you my manager. And I made the next bus, and I came to work late, 8:45, and I'm supposed to be there at 8. And you understand the accident. What would your response be?
My response would be to give you a warning, and then if you do that 2 more times, I'm going to have to fire you. That's what my response would be, because if the bus that I would have been on would have killed me, would have probably killed me, and I got the next bus and got to work late because of that, the response would have been 2 more times and you fired. The 40 people that got killed on that bus has absolutely nothing to do with my business. So what my response would be, okay, I'll give you a warning. And if you on a bus and 80 more people get killed, I would have to fire you. Because my business still have to open regardless of how many buses get into an accident.
Exactly.
Right, but now, what did you actually miss in that? Because you have to be there at 8, you got there at 8:45. What did you actually miss? How much money did you actually miss within 45 minutes that's more pertinent, more important than a human life?
See, this is what happens in business. In business, it's about customer service. So now, if my customers come today and they can't get an egg sandwich because your bus got into an accident, that's cool. Now, if it happens again, my customers start to feel a certain kind of way. And then if it happens the third time, now I lose customers, and those customers start saying, well, this person never have eggs in the morning when they're supposed to, so now I'm going to go to another business, and I'm going to, because now, see, this starts to affect my whole family now. It's not just you have 40 people, okay, that got killed in a bus accident, but see, now you being late or not showing up, now it starts to affect my whole family, my well-being. So, the first law is self-preservation. I can't always be concerned about what happened with somebody else. I have to be concerned about, my well-being and the well-being of my family. So it's not personal. It's not that I don't care about the 40 people. It's not that I don't care about you may be out of a job. But I have to care about me and my family first. Because this train still...
So that's a great lesson. That's a great lesson of people should be self-employed, because actually the employer doesn't have to care about the employee. So that's a great lesson on people should try their best to strive to be self-employed.
Right. That's true. But I mean, it's also up to your employer. I always try to look at, like when I book jobs and people work for me, I take everything into consideration. I take into consideration if the person who worked for me has children, how much their bills are. I mean, I ask these questions. Most employers don't. But I ask these questions, what are your bills, your responsibilities, what do you do at night, whether you have a second job, if you're good at waking up in the morning. My take on it, if I have a person who worked for me and I see they consistently can't get up in the morning, I'm just going to give them jobs in the afternoon, because I know this. I know this person still has to make money. I have a general concern. However, if it starts affecting my business, then it starts affecting my life. And at some point, I might have to let this person go. It's not personal. It's just that you're not an asset to my business. You're messing up my customers.
Right. Right.
Right, Zaire? I'm saying right. Zaire? Or...
Yeah, that's Zaire saying right.
Mm-hmm.
Why you say right? What do you mean right?
I feel...
But what you say that...
Party, because I feel like because I think we're still on the subject of tardiness. What I was taught was, if you're not on time, you're going to be fired. And as a child, I was in the school system, of course. So I heard that from teachers, everyone. So it was clearly understood that if you're not on time, you will lose your job.
Right.
So everybody gets warnings for the most part. Everybody, I feel that if you're a tardy person, then you should build your lifestyle around that. But you can't work a job and have to be somewhere at a certain time and can never meet that. If you have to be there by 8 o'clock a.m., then that means you have to be there at 8 o'clock a.m., not 8:01, not 8:02. Because if you're working a job, you're supposed to be there at 7:55. You're supposed to be there before everybody else. To
do you grasp the same concept? This is what I said. That's what I said earlier, that I will strive my utmost. I'm striving my utmost to make it on time. I go to work on time.
Right.
That's not the issue, Nico. I'm going to work on time. But if I happen to be late on this particular day, I'm saying I'm on time. And I'm actually, y'all prescribe to the same concept. If you were going to work and you know that you got up on time, you were striving, you trying your hardest to get there, would you want the boss to fire you? And use your same perspective as you're using now.
Of course not. But if I'm late, if I'm there at 8:05 one day, say I'm late one day at 8:05, and I may feel that I'm not late, but my boss may feel that I'm late. It's you have no feeling because that's not your business.
Right. Your boss is
to be honest, so you have to take it into consideration that, okay, I was here at 8:05 this day. It wasn't respectable. It wasn't appropriate. My boss didn't like it. That means that you have to take it into consideration that you should probably be there at 7:55 the next day. If you get there at 8:05 the next day, now you're testing your boss. and now if you start testing people, then it may not work out in your favor. Sure, it may, but not all the time. So I feel like I feel that tardiness all depends on the person that you work for. If you work for a very strict person and tardiness is not allowed, then point blank, it's not allowed.
Right, but Zaire brought up a good point. He said he learned that in school. Now, also, when you're in school, even as a young adult, it's a choice to pay attention in class. See, Zaire probably was paying attention when his teacher said that. But I'm sure it was other people who wasn't paying attention and didn't catch on to that principle. Now they're going to reap the benefits or the lack of benefits of not paying attention in school. That's a choice.
Right.
So while you working, as you at work right now, you probably have other people who wasn't paying attention in school who don't have a job because they didn't grasp that principle.
But see, grasp is understanding it because having a choice in that instance doesn't mean that you understood what transpired. You can articulate, you can try to convey a message all you want. Until I grasp it, you haven't conveyed your message. I'm saying you relayed it to me, but you didn't convey it. Because conveying is that I have to understand what transpired to make me change or say, no, I understand what you're saying, but I still disagree.
Right, but
as a business owner, that's not your job to make sure that people grasp what you're saying.
No, he's talking about the choices. He's talking about the choices.
Yeah, I'm talking about choices.
Have a particular choice.
Okay. I apologize.
Yeah, but also this is an excellent topic. We might have part 4 and 5 to this one.
Where the beloved at?
But also I think Malik, what you're describing is something that's open for interpretation. You know, if a person tell you don't be late, that's not open for interpretation. That's simply don't be late. If you can't understand that, then you might have developmental issues. And if you have developmental issues, then I definitely need to find somebody else to take your place.
No, see, but I keep saying, every time I said, I keep saying, I understand. I have to be there at 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. This is my intention, to be there at 8 o'clock. I have no problem with that. I'm not trying to go against what my boss had laid down as his curriculum for his environment. So I make that. But I'm talking about if I make it at 8:05, I'm still on time.
Right. According.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to deliberately try to be late. I ain't going to deliberately try to be there at 8:05, 8:15, 8:20. No, of course not.
But then again, that's
to be there on time.
But that still depends on the boss you have. It depends on.
It doesn't matter the boss I have, because I'm a worker. Honestly, I haven't been going. I'm not going late. I'm not trying to be late on purpose. So my key is like every other employee there. I'm going to work on time. I don't be late. I'm on time. But if I happen to be late one day, I'm still on time.
And see, these are the choices in life that either make a person successful or keep a person in a poorhouse. Because like when you have a job and you're trying to advance on that job, the person who advanced most of the time is the person who's going to be the first one there and the last one to leave. Like Zaire know when me and him do a job together, I'm normally extra early, maybe even an hour early, because I'm going to come early enough for us to eat breakfast before we get there. I'm gonna leave time for the unexpected. So just in case the train is not running, just in case the train is running late, or if there's an accident on the bus, or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna show up early enough to take all of that into consideration. So if I show up 30 minutes early or an hour early, what I'm showing my boss is that I'm responsible and I'm dependable. So when it comes time for me to negotiate a raise, then I'm going to be the one that he's looking at, because I'm the person who was always there, not on time, but before time. So a lot of times when I show up to a job and I'm there 30 minutes earlier, and I'm calling a customer, and they're impressed with that. Not only they're impressed with that, but when they write a review, inside that review, they're going to write whether this person was on time, before time, or whether this person was late. Am I right, Zaire?
All right.
And that effect, and when you working with a team, the time that you show up, it affects everybody. Because everybody in a restaurant, they have a tip jar. On a job, if you're doing a service, they give tips, and that tip is predicated on the service that you give them. So if the whole team is on time or early, then it's going to reflect when it's time to get a tip. But if one person is late, it's going to also reflect on the tip. So now, because you showed up at 8:05 and everybody was there waiting for you at 8 o'clock, when it comes time for the customer to tip, they're going to tip less. And then that means at the end of the day, everybody go home with less money. and that's a fact. But
but that's debatable. That also depends on conditions. That depends on if you work with a team, if you don't work with a team, because say you work with a team and you're a worker that's always on time, but you also have people that are late or have poverty-stricken mindset.
Right.
Then when you work with a team and you have that toxicity, I would say, it reflects on everybody.
Right.
Not just that one person. It reflects on a whole team.
When I think about the career of Allen Iverson, right? Allen Iverson, we'll all agree if we know his history, if we've seen the documentary, he had a low-income mentality. Would everybody agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, because he had a low-income mentality, he would either not show up to practice or show up to practice late. And the coach didn't like that. He may have braids in his hair. He may have had tattoos on his arms or on his body, and he misrepresented the franchise. You know, he misrepresented the franchise, and because of that, it affected his career. He could have been a lot more great if he would have just played the game the way everybody else was playing the game, you know, and meshed with the whole team.
Right.
So
actually, Allen Iverson was he was the team.
Right.
I think his off-court antics got him really, you know, messed him up, and he didn't really be as great as he could have been. But he was a great player.
Right.
But his mindset was that of.
Right, but you may call it, or use the terminology, his off-court antics, and I use the terminology his choices. You know, his choices, the choices that he made in the past, have him pretty much broke as an NBA player right now.
Oh, no doubt, definitely, yeah.
So now that's on a larger scale, because I mean, of course, he's not completely broke. Right. He would have had a lot more than what he have now. But on a smaller scale, the same mentality affects people who are trying to, quote unquote, dig themselves out of poverty. You know, but I Googled, you know, when you Google how to overcome poverty, this is what it says. It says poverty is about a lack of money. People living in poverty often feel powerless to change their situation. They can feel isolated from their community. If you want to overcome poverty, you need a combination of financial planning, a positive attitude, and a willingness to ask for help. And then it goes on to gives you guidance. It says the first step is to educate yourself. It says the second step is to examine your housing options. The third step is to look for better work. Now, you know, all it is in every way is trying to better yourself as an individual. You know,
that's why I said mental, though. It's your attitude, it said, too. It's mental. That's why I said it's mental. You have to be able to change your mental, or your physical condition will never change. I've been saying that from inception.
Okay.
If you don't change your mental, if you believe what you believe, you were taught to believe to be nothing, you're going to accept that.
Okay, so
if someone show you different, if someone teaches you to use your mental, you're going to stay in what you were taught.
Okay, so let me respond to a statement you made earlier. You said at 19 you couldn't read or write, correct?
Right.
At some point, you made a choice to learn how to read or write.
No, okay. But the choice only came to surface when I understood the action. Mm-hmm. When someone spoke to me, I think I was going to say somewhere, and they spoke to me, and they taught me the importance of. Then I seen, there's other action.
And that's why I
said there's options.
And that's
once you understand there's options, then the choice becomes yours.
And that's why I go back to grade school. Because in school, we were all taught by our teachers why we should pay attention in class. So it's your choice, even as a child, whether you decide to pay attention in class or not. Your teachers give you.
You can pay attention. Right now, I can say, all the listeners, I want y'all to pay attention. And I'm going to say a line in Arabic. I'm going to speak in Arabic. Right. Everyone is paying attention, but the individual who don't understand what Arabic is will never understand it.
Right, but then I have a choice.
And this is how we look at things that we were taught. Sometimes we are taught things and we embrace it so much, everything else we look at is going to look weird to us.
But now
even the right thing we're supposed to do is going to look weird to us.
Right, but now listen, Malik, when you said you might say something in Arabic and we might not understand it, right? Is
I said you're going to pay attention.
Right,
you're going to pay attention.
But I still don't know what you're talking about because I don't know Arabic, right? Now, in the last few days, me and you had a couple of phone conversations, and you used a couple of big words. And before you went on to finish what you were saying, I stopped you and said, hold on, what did you say? And you said, oh, I said this word. And I said, well, what does that mean? Because in order for me to understand what you're saying, I have to be able to define the words that you're using. So before you was able to finish the message you was trying to convey to me, I had to say, hold on, you used the word, I don't understand what that word means. Give me the definition of that word. You gave me the definition, and then you proceeded to finish your message. So now
you were helping me with my point because you're comparing yourself who's an individual who's understanding of options. But if you was an individual who didn't understand options, saying, oh, if I ask him what that word means, it's going to look like I'm stupid, and I don't want nobody to make me think that I look stupid, so I ain't even going to ask him what that word means. I'm just going to act like I know what it means. And this is a person who don't understand options. But if you understand options, so you can't put yourself in that scenario. You remove yourself from blind spots. So you don't have it's no shame to say, I don't know that. Because you know that this particular thing will enhance you as the person you are.
Right.
So it's different.
I still see that as a choice.
Okay.
When a person is reading a book, a lot of people skip over words that they don't understand, and they never get the gist of the book that they're reading. So it's almost like not even reading the book at all.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying, Zaire?
Yeah, that actually, because I kind of lost focus for a second because the environment I'm in, something's going on, but that actually kind of like threw my focus back because life is all about choices. So it's just like how you said, if you're reading a book and you're reading over words you don't understand, then you're never going to get the gist of the book or what the book is really trying to portray to you. But then there's those people, but then you forget about the whole point of your reading the book is to expand your knowledge and to widen your vocabulary.
Right.
But so that gets back to everything is on choices. If everybody gets the book, but what I'm trying to say is most people may read the book, but a few may choose to understand the book. If that makes any sense.
Well, I say again that I still stand on as twofold, that I believe the aspect that you guys are referring to, and I still believe that people are also born into poverty. But I definitely understand your aspect. I understand your aspect.
Everybody's different. Your ascribed status is always going to be different. Everyone who's born is born into something different, but throughout life...
Brother Malik, can you hear me? Yeah. I've been listening attentively to everyone, and everyone has made some excellent points. I want to rename the host of the show, Jaja. I want to rename him Mr. No Nonsense, because he said that if the bus got in an accident and 40 people were killed, that's not his problem. But that is the position of most management, most supervisors, most companies. They don't have to deal with problems, because the bottom line for them is the dollar. So when you come to work understanding that's their position, then you create or you develop a no-nonsense philosophy. Like, listen, I'm not playing with my job. That's how I feed my family. So if I'm supposed to be here at 8 o'clock in the morning, I think I'm going to be here at 7:45, just in case. I might leave my house at 6:30, or depending on where the job is at. So I think in life, we have choices come in terms of, do we choose to take the things that are important seriously? And I think feeding yourself and feeding your family is very, very important. In terms of Allen Iverson, his mother was a crackhead, who had him when she was 15 years old. So he's starting off like 100 feet behind the start line. So we have a race, and the race is from, say, Notion Avenue, or if you know where you're at Notion Avenue, so you're going to go back up Notion to St. Mark's. He started somewhere like, 100 feet behind that starting line on Notion where you begin. He's not even there. He's 100 feet behind. You're like, is that him? That's his situation. So now playing the game of catch-up is a hard game to play. Everybody's not going to make it. His lack of refinement is what cost him a lot of money. He wasn't well-groomed. A very talented individual, but with no father figure, mother on drugs, typical black life, is what you get. His talent got him where he was at. He needed some fine tuning and some fine grooming to be smoothed out, around the rough edges. That's my take on that issue. So just want to add in on that, chime in on that.
Right.
Excellent points from everybody.
Yeah, and
poverty.
Go ahead.
Continue. I was going to say, adding on to that, Allen Iverson, I guess he knew at an early age that poverty is a choice. Because he even knew that his mother was 15, had him at 15 years old. His condition, and he could have looked at that and let it hold him back. But instead, even though he probably didn't make it to what he could have been, he probably passed the people who started before him in that same race. So do you look at it as he won, or is he still lost?
Right. No,
I think he was definitely a success. He's a success story. No matter, I don't care how you put it.
No matter how you look at it.
No matter how you look at it, he's a success story. But now we only can say it from our perspective because we don't know how he looked at success.
Right.
Right. And he definitely is a success story. However, whatever game you playing, sometimes it's not always about winning. It's about being able to score points. Like if you're playing against a team and the team is a better team, and you still able to keep up with the momentum, you still be recognized as a good team, even if you're not recognized as a winner. You might not be the MVP, you might not win a ring, but you still might can make it to the playoffs and be recognized as a good team.
Yeah, you get your props.
Right. So I think and like yesterday when we was doing the first show, if you're playing against a team and the team is a better team, and you still able to keep up with the momentum, you still be recognized as a good team. Even if you're not recognized as a winner, you might not be the MVP, you might not win a ring, but you still might can make it to the playoffs and be recognized as a good team.
Yeah, you get your props.
Right. So I think and like yesterday when we was doing the first show, Beloved, he kept bringing up either rich or poor. He really never talked about the in between. So if you're poor, to make it to be rich doesn't mean that, I'm out of poverty, so I won. No, if you make it from being poor to the lower middle class, you still scored enough points to dig yourself out of poverty.
Of course.
So you don't have to become rich. You just have to do better than you've been doing. When I go to martial arts class, when I take my daughter to martial arts class, the sensei always tell the children who are training that the only thing I expect from you is to do 1% better than you did the day before. So if you do 1% better than you did the day before, you're scoring points, and eventually you'll win after you score the winning basket. So that's all you have to do. You don't have to compare yourself to other people. Like, I don't have to compare myself to Warren Buffett in order to say I made it or I'm successful. Only thing I have to do is compare myself to what I was yesterday, and if I'm doing better today, then I'm successful.
So you know the example of If a multi-millionaire gives someone $1, man, it ain't no big thing. Yeah. Or $100, it ain't no big thing. But if a person with only $101 give away a $100 bill, then it becomes a big thing.
Right.
So, and that's how it is, man. That's how it is.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah, I wrote about that in my book. Like, I always tell my oldest daughter, who's 23 years old, you know, I always tell her, like, if you find a man that you like, you know, judge him based on how much he's willing to sacrifice, not how much he give you. Because if he has $10,000 and he give you $100, that's not a sacrifice. But if he have $400 and he give you $300, that's a sacrifice. You know, that's showing love. You know, so, you know, in terms of the whole poverty situation, I just can't believe that is no such person in the ghetto, in the hood, in a low income area that has never heard of education or a job. I just think they make a choice to not want to work and not want to learn. That's a choice, regardless of
I agree with that. I agree with that once they understand that they have the choice. Once they understand it, that's why I keep saying it's still a mindset.
Right.
You know, sometimes we don't see the same colors in the color book that everybody else sees. Some people, you know, are colorblind. You know, I was looking on Facebook the other day, and this family had blessed their father with some glasses because he was colorblind. So they had blessed him with some glasses, and he put them on. He was like, wow, started crying. Oh, my gosh. For all that time, prior to getting those glasses, no matter how many times that you explain how beautiful pink may be, how beautiful orange may be, how beautiful yellow may be, he could never grasp that concept. But now when he got them glasses, he understood clearly what you were referring to.
Right.
So sometimes people just can't see it. Now, because we get it, we can't expect everybody else to get it. Sometimes people just can't see it. But then there's some people who can explain themselves and make people see things that everybody else couldn't make them see.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. No, I agree with that. But you know, we in the information age. You know, the information is readily available, and I don't think that we can no longer use the excuse of the resources not being available to people in low income areas. You know, the reason why I say that,
I'm gonna tell you they can't use it. I'm gonna tell you this. If they listen to this show today, they ain't got no excuse, man. If they listen to this show today right here, they ain't got no excuse.
I think the position of Jaja has always been, and will always be, is that there are no excuses. Excuses are tools of being confident, and those who use them never get anything done. So he's a Mr. Do-It man. You know what I mean? Anything short of doing is an excuse to him. So he's not tolerating no excuses. He don't care if your mother died, your father died, you was locked up for 50 years. He don't want to hear it. That's Jaja's position.
No, I think that he would hear an excuse. But if he don't care about that, no, he does. But I think what he's going to do, he's going to eradicate the excuse. If we're on a job, a construction site, and I say, Jaja, listen, man, I'm sitting down because I don't have no hammer for this particular site. That's my excuse. Right. He's going to say, okay, I understand your excuse.
I'm going to get you a hammer.
I'm going to get you a hammer. So he's
listen to what he said.
He's going to rectify it.
Listen to what he said. You just came off the bus out of an accident, in your analogy, the illustration you gave. You got off a bus where 40 people are dead, broken up, bloody, maybe decapitated. They were dead. He said, he didn't even flinch. He didn't even think about it. He said, it's not my problem. Why are you late? Now, my position would have been, first of all, I'm glad you're here. Do you need medical attention? Did you receive medical attention? By all means, take the day off. We'll find somebody else to do the A. Do whatever it was you're doing. I'll do them. You know, I'm gonna show some compassion. Now, I'm gonna weigh it out. Now, if you don't have no reason for being late other than, my bus came late, I lost my bus pass. No, I'm not hearing that. I don't care about that. But 40 people are dead, that's a different ballgame. What are you talking about? You misplaced your bus pass, your wallet, the cab was late. No, I'm not counting that as no justifiable excuse. Your transportation is something that you had to work out before you got hired. So that I'm not going to listen to. But in the case that you gave, which was extreme, 40 people are dead and you're alive, I want to make sure you got medical attention, because you might have
No. See, the analogy was 40 people. The bus that I would have been on, and I would have reached my destination.
Oh, you would have been on the bus.
No. I said the bus that I would have been on would have made it there at 8 o'clock on the dot. The accident occurred and 40 people died. And I took the next bus after that and made it 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late. I said, to me, I'm still on time.
But you're not
on time.
Because I'm dealing from a life and death perspective. I'm still on time.
If you was on the bus, I would hear you. If you was on the bus, if you wasn't on the bus, and you happen to see that from a distance,
no, I missed that bus. I missed it. I missed it. Yeah, I missed that bus.
Well, listen, I don't know what happened live. Oh, I thought you was on the bus. You missed the bus. So if you missed the bus, then don't want to judge on that one. I don't want to hear that.
And you know what? I'll take the hit on that one because, I guess, the way I was raised, I mean, ultimately, you remember that time I bust my head open on that big green garbage can?
On Kingston?
On Kingston. We was outside playing ball, and I went for the ball that was under the garbage can, and I bust the back of my head open. And this is when your mother was living on Kingston on the other side of Dean Street. And you took me to your mother's house. My head was bleeding, and when we got to your mother, I'm bleeding and I'm crying. And you was like, "Mom, look, John, he bust his head open. He bleeding." And you know what she said? She said,
"Get the F away from me or something."
She said, "Shut up. Stop crying like a little punk." Now listen, I'm a kid. Now look, I'm a kid, and I got blood dripping down the back of my neck and blood all on my hands because I bust my head open. So I guess it has a lot to do.
I can see by your upbringing, I can see why you're so hard now.
Right.
She probably was under the influence at the time.
She definitely was under the influence. But however, when you raised in a tough environment like that, it makes you tough as an adult.
Of course, you're very tough.
You know what, Jaja? You know what's crazy? I agree with that 100%. I was also raised in that environment, but through my trials and tribulations of life, I try my best, or I've learned to be a little more compassionate. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I do in those particular areas. I've learned because, and when I look back on things and certain people, how they did me or whatever, boom, boom, like, I don't want nobody to feel that particular pain.
Right.
But
I try my best to have compassion. You know what I'm saying? I have. So, some people it's going to affect people differently.
I think from Jada's perspective, well, he's dealing with the bottom line. When you're running a business, a company, a corporation, there got to be a bottom line. There got to be a point where you say the buck stops here. I just can't have this anymore. And I can understand that perspective too, because people in life who are most successful, it's like I heard a pimp say one time. So you got different kinds of pimps. You got your pretty pimp, your gorilla pimp, your no-nonsense pimp. He said the pimp who gonna always have his money, they're no-nonsense pimp. That one ain't listen to nothing. Where my money at? He gonna always get paid. Other ones might get played. Might get people might get lost on them. But that one has no nonsense on his paper. Yeah, he gonna get what he came for. So if you want to be successful, there's so many excuses you could tolerate. Otherwise, like that affects your ability to feed your family. And the first law of nature is self-preservation. In terms of what the show is about. It's probably a choice, like I said on a previous show, that all depends. I don't think anyone really wants to be in an impecunious state. However, once you find yourself there, it becomes like an enigma as to how you get out of it. Like, I'm in the matrix.
What I'm saying is important. What I'm saying is important that we need to incorporate compassion. I think that's one of the main things.
I agree.
That we do. But when I say
that's not going to help your poverty, though.
But no, what I mean is that you can still, like me, I still cannot show compassion. I still can get mean or when I need to be so. But I just feel right. Exactly. So no matter how much a person, you can have an impersonator. He can impersonate Muhammad Ali, or he'll never be Muhammad Ali.
Right. It's not in him.
It's not in him.
Right.
So it's to be as Jaja is. It's in me. But I just worked hard to try to show a little more compassion. That's all.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. You have to balance it out.
And how I used to be. That's what I said, a little more compassion. How I used to be. Not comparing from how I used to be.
And I try. I can remember one day I had a crew going on a job and they was late. And you know what I did? I fired everybody. I canceled the job, fired everybody, and that was it. But then
that's the end of that.
Right, but then I turned around and I hired.
Oh man.
No, but hold on. But then the compassionate part is I turned around and I hired them all back.
But that's a lesson in that. That's a lesson, and everything that you look at is a lesson.
Right.
And you're fortunate. Everything in life, like you just said, everything in life is a lesson on a blessing. And sometimes when you're fortunate, you receive both.
Right.
That lesson could turn into a blessing. And the lesson you gave them, and not just that. He showed them to be on time, right? Like what y'all was speaking about earlier. He showed them to be on time, responsibility. He's teaching them a whole lot of now and not being fired.
Now, I'll say this too. When you look at that extreme perspective, or what appears to be extreme from Jaja, I would say, to be real with you, when you're a part of an oppressed group of people, the only way to get ahead is you kind of have to have that attitude. If you get into the habit of making excuses for yourself or feeling sorry for yourself, you will never get ahead. So you really got to put yourself in a position of saying, okay, I knew when I came into existence or somebody taught me as I came into existence, I'm a black man in the wilderness of North America. That means I have to get up earlier, stay later, and work twice as hard just to break even.
Right.
That's what the job's going to be for me. I'm a black man. Now, knowing that the odds are against you, it's like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was small for a heavyweight. But he didn't let that stop him. He became faster. He hit harder. He became more vicious, more ominous, and more intimidating. He came in the ring with black trunks, black boots, no socks. He didn't smile. And when the bell rang, he wanted you to understand something. You just made a mistake in your life.
And he fought with the same pain. He fought with the same pain that we describing right now.
Right. He took it and made it work. And made it work for him.
Absolutely.
He took it and made it work for him. And he didn't say, well, Larry Holmes is 6 inches taller than me. Larry Holmes has a longer reach. Caitlin Thomas has a longer reach. He didn't say all that. He said, okay, I'm going to season this dude's ribs.
Right.
I'm going to take it low. I'm going to take him down like a tree. He's going to get hit. I'm going to have to punch him in the face. Right on.
That's why I keep saying everything is a mindset, man. Everything is
right.
Everything is mindset with your mind, and his mind is that no one can
win. No one can defeat me. I'm going to win. I don't want to go back to Brownsville. I don't want to go to Brownsville. And, urination in the elevator and graffiti on the walls and murder on the rooftops. So I'm going to definitely have to keep doing what I'm doing. And that's the attitude that has if you want to get ahead. If you come in the bus and saying, I'm short, I'm nervous, my arm is shorter, I can't do it, you're in the wrong game. You're not going to learn, sir.
Right.
But gentlemen, speaking of being on time and everything, I got to get out of here. I got to go to work.
All right, Zaire. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, Zaire. Definitely thanks for calling in, big fella.
No doubt. Anytime. I appreciate it.
All right, peace.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, but that's the way I look at it. If
that's the best way to look at it. That's the only way.
Right. If you feel like you're dealt the wrong hand, you just have to step up to the plate.
Work around it.
Right.
And you might have to go double hard. Like Mike went double, triple hard. Like when he was hitting people, he was hitting with evil intentions.
You got to try to reshuffle the deck, man. You got to try to reshuffle the deck, man. That's it.
Right.
You ain't get the hand that you want. You got to try to reshuffle the deck. Or if they don't want to reshuffle the deck, you have to go buy your own cards, man.
And even if you have a court case, a criminal case, you might go to a lawyer and you might tell your lawyer, look, I'm guilty. Your lawyer is not concerned about your guilt or your innocence. He's only concerned at that point of the loopholes. Okay, you did it. Let's examine this. Let's see how we can still win this case. But when you go to a lawyer,
just say he didn't do it.
Right. When you go to a lawyer and you tell your lawyer that you're guilty, he don't tell you, well, I can't take the case. No, he gonna say, okay, so let's sit down and figure out how we gonna win.
Well, he still wants some money out of this.
Exactly. So I think the position of us, in general, as poor people or as living in poverty, we just have to figure out how can we at least score some points. That's the bottom line.
I think we have to keep this.
So we may never be. How can we score some points? So we may never be Rockefeller. We may never be Kennedy or DuPont or Rothschild, but let's see how we can get on the page, how we can get on the board, how we can score some points.
Right.
Just be happy with that.
Right.
Just be happy with that.
Right.
Don't stay in poverty.
I think the only way we can accomplish that is by establishing unity. Man, we have to bring unity back. We have to learn to care for one another. And when we get information, we can't be afraid to disseminate it amongst each other, man. Because sometimes, if I give it to him, he might know somebody, and he might get it before I get it. We got to stop that concept. We got to stop that mindset, man.
That's the barrel mindset, and many of us have it. But like I always say, everybody ain't gonna make it. So this we have to distill it. Everybody not gonna make it.
Right.
Some want it and some don't want it. You know what I mean? If you want it, it's out there if you want to go after it. But again, you have to have that mindset, that go after it mindset, and everybody don't have that. Some people are angry.
We not trying to teach people who know.
I don't understand. But I'm
teach people who don't know, then they can have a greater choice.
I'm talking about the mindset, though. There are people out here we're making $500 a week, paying their taxes, going home, watch a little TV, go to bed, do it all over again. And the others who will look at $500 a week and be like, that's poverty. I got to find a way to get more. I'm not content with that. I'm not happy with that. I can't see much pounds from that. So it's a mindset.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. But we done surpassed the an hour on the show, so we're gonna close it out. And for the next show, we'll get a couple of other special guests to call in, and we're gonna keep moving right along. So any closing remarks, beloved?
You said they closed the word?
Any closing remarks?
Oh no, sir. Great show. That's all.
Okay, Arthur Malik, any closing remarks?
No. The struggle continue, and so do we. Never give up. Get up.
Okay. So on that note, please like, please subscribe, and leave your comments. Peace.